What's up guys, Kevin here with TLD, bringing you my full review of Uncharted 3 for the PS3. Now once again, the Uncharted series does a great job of combining strong cinematic experience with an enjoyable platforming game. The narrative is very entertaining and strongly reminiscent of watching an Indiana Jones movie, with equal parts action, exploration, ancient puzzles, and the occasional hint of the supernatural. The game makes excellent use of both camera angles and environmental detail to help make even the action scenes still feel like you're watching a movie. One of my personal favorite moments is a chase scene early on in the game. You're running away from these guys, and at one point I ran through a kitchen. Originally I just jumped over a table, that was it, nothing happened. I ended up getting caught and had to do that segment again. Well, when I did it again, I ran nearby a fridge, in which case Drake automatically swung open the freezer door, hit a guy in the face, and gave me a lot more breathing room. It's little details like this that really do help make the game feel like a movie. Now the gameplay breaks down into one of three major categories. Platforming segments, which are used for exploring lost ruins or during chase scenes, third-person shooting segments, which serve as the main action parts of the game, and the occasional stealth segment that will precede the shooting scenes. Now of these three, the stealth segments really did feel like the weakest part of the game. There's not much to the controls for it, it's mostly just using cover to hide from enemies and then using takedowns when you're close to them. It's not something you can really control well. There's no crouch button, you just kind of walk up to an enemy and hope they don't notice you. Oftentimes it's really hard to get through these parts without getting caught, although there really is no major downside to it because then it just turns into a shooting scene, which is normally just a lot easier in the end to deal with. Now for the shooting scenes, players are able to make use of up to two weapons, one sidearm and then one main weapon, whether it be a shotgun or an assault rifle, as well as being able to hold up to 4 grenades at a time. The controls are decent and allow for a number of different combat options, including blind fire, aiming over cover, takedowns, and throwing grenades back at enemies. There will also be the occasional combat scene which relies solely on melee combat, which usually breaks down to just melee attacks, counters, and grabs. Some of the animations in these fights can get a little repetitive, but there is the occasional interaction with the environment that can help keep these entertaining. For instance, grabbing a bottle to smash over an enemy's head or chucking someone out a window. Now, while there are these action scenes, the game's central focus is on the platforming experience. Level design comes naturally and honestly feels quite fluid. While the actual design of the levels can sometimes seem a little too ridiculous or represent Drake having ridiculously good or bad luck, the player never really feels like they're lost in the middle of a stage. You always have a decent idea of where you need to go, with only a few exceptions. It's worth noting that while these platforming segments can take a while, they actually don't do much to detract from the game's cinematic experience. Thanks to the use of both camera angles and dialogue, platforming segments still feel like you're watching a movie. Especially thanks to certain moments when things go crazy, like for instance a chandelier falling on the ground or swinging from rope to rope. Now aside from the campaign, the game does also feature a multiplayer component, which I actually found myself enjoying a lot more than I thought I would. Matches play out like the shooting scenes in the game, with players not only relying on their skill with weapons, but also on how they navigate the environment around them. Playing through these matches allows players to level up, which unlocks a number of different options for multiplayer, including changing your appearance, changing your starting loadouts, or what special perks you have available. Perks come in the form of passive bonuses, such as things like climbing faster, as well as special medal kickbacks, which are special one-time use abilities you get for earning medals in matches, such as being able to summon an RPG. Matches are quick but really enjoyable, and are a worthwhile alternative for people looking for a third-person shooter that's different from the standard modern-day FPS games we've been seeing a lot of recently. Overall, Uncharted 3 is a great example of how video games can fuse strong narrative with player interactions. Even though the game's plots and events are entirely linear, players still feel engaged in the actions that they take. Quite honestly, it's very hard to find a time to stop while playing the game's main campaign. It feels akin to something like getting up and walking out of a theater during a movie marathon. The game is a must-have for anyone who's a fan of strong narrative in video games, and is also worthwhile picking up for anyone looking for a fun third-person shooter that serves as an alternative to more conventional FPS games. That's our review of Uncharted 3. If you guys haven't gotten a chance yet, make sure to check out our latest two videos, my review of Kirby Return to Dreamland for the Wii, and Ellie, aka AppChat's review, of Zombieville USA 2 for the iOS. As always, thank you guys for watching. If you want to be super awesome, make sure to hit that like button. I'm Kevin for TLD, and I'll see you next time.